and when Hillary talked about the number of cases, I've been working on this number, and I'm sure that Greenberg has got some people also looking at the Piers data. I've looked at a bunch of the Piers data, and I can tell you not every sheet of drywall that came to this country went into the stream of commerce and went into homes. Okay, there's a lot of specialty uses for drywall that come in here. So when you start looking at who the vendors were, you'll find out that it didn't go into the stream of traffic. You'll also find out that there are at least, I can identify clearly 100,000 sheets of drywall that stayed in the warehouses, 50,000 that got trashed, and there's still about 40 or 50,000 sitting in a warehouse in Port Manatee. So when you start stripping this number down and getting the 7 million potential sheets down to a reasonable level, you start looking at waste. The number of homes that are really affected is really, quite frankly, a lower number. We also only have 2,000 complaints filed. Okay, let's assume that that's is off by a factor of 10. Maybe 20,000 homes in complaints, but not all of them perhaps have Chinese drywall. If we had a lot more problems with it, I think that the complaints would be up significantly, and I think there'd be a lot of other yelling and screaming. I noticed a while back there was one advertisement on television that was saying, "Call me if you think you have Chinese drywall," and gave an attorney's number. That advertisement's off. It's expensive, okay, and they weren't getting many calls. Otherwise, it'd still be there, and there'd be 5 or 6 more of them out there. I quite frankly think that Hillary's group has a much better idea on the actual number of homes that are possibly affected, okay? Because I think they've been doing the research, and I think the number will come out that it's smaller. If it is smaller, if the number is not 100,000, I think the number is probably closer to about 12,000 homes that may be affected. If that's the case, then the damage potential isn't 100 million. It's more like, or it should be 100 billion. It's more like 2 or 3 billion. That's a manageable pool. Have we scared ourselves into a problem that is bigger? Okay. Are we making a mountain out of a molehill? So I think we still have a lot more investigation to do. I agree with my friend Russ. There's still some more investigation in the science, but I think there's a greater investigation that should take place on tracking the stream of traffic, the drywall that came in. Was it a number of bad batches that got through? Or was it an entire year production out of 6 fabrication facilities that were all bad? Logic tells me that I think it wasn't all the sheets of that 7 million that came in 2006 and 7, but that it was several bad batches. I think there needs to be a greater investigation. I think when that does happen, you'll find that it is much more selective, and the problem is not as bad as we think it is. And therefore, I would endorse my colleague's idea that settlement may be a much more attractive route to pursue than litigation.
It's hard to imagine, after the amount of attention, national and local, and particularly in South Florida, using that as an example, where my firm's been out there as well as some other leading firms, and there's been a lot of attention, that we're still finding out in the last 2 weeks of new developments that didn't know they had it. I was telling everybody at luncheon 2 weeks ago, I was called in 2 weeks ago. I mean, we've been at this for a year. 2 weeks ago, into a 20-unit attached townhome complex, of which so far 15 we know have it. And a retirement community that 2 weeks ago discovered that they have some level of it, some number of boards. So there's tremendous underreporting. We've got a problem that people are now afraid to report at some level because of the insurance issues or sales, or don't want to know. We've got abandonment by banks. We've got all sorts of issues. I guess my question is, do we really need to wait to know whether it's 12,000 or 20,000 to start remediating and to start putting together a fund? And